have never been a professional musician, but I always was involved in making music, playing in bands, collecting instruments. So I think as long as I can remember, I was always busy with music. Well, at a certain age, it must have been that I was probably 15, 16 years old. There was a time that I got really interested in electronic music and the instruments that were used by those musicians. And obviously those machines or the synthesizers that they used were so expensive that you could only dream to own one. A lot of equipment that you see here, I bought it in the hope that it would inspire me, and it often did. Not always, and then at a certain point I will say goodbye. I think that's the criteria, is that an instrument or a piece of equipment, it can also be some delay or a phaser or something like that, must inspire you. If you play it, you say, ah, all right, you know, this can be the beginning of my symphony. I didn't actually start collecting synthesizers. I was setting up a home studio, and actually a mobile home studio, so everything was in flight cases, and I started to make that home studio complete. So having the proper monitors, having a mixer, a mixing desk, that sort of things, microphones. Well, the list is quite endless, you know. So that's how it started, and then, you know, it's sort of a limitless world that you enter then, you know. I mean, there's no reason to stop until your space is all occupied, you know. And then there's two things that you can do, is move to a bigger space or accept the fact. Well, guess what I did, you know. It's the Polymoog. It's it's not even a polyphonic synth in the real sense of the word, or the normal sense of the word. It is more like a string ensemble. But it has some nice mellow sounds. And it combines very well with the ARP 2600.
Shadows are drifting right before me. It's a misty, foggy night. It's right before me. It's a misty, foggy through the forest. It's a rise and the shadow. No, it's a long road. In the distance there is a light of the head. I can't see if it's a weather or distance there is a light of the head. I can't see if it's a weather or distance there is a light of the head. I can't see in my head. It's a winter song and I'm waiting on.
Well, this is a bit of FM or frequency modulation extravaganza. In fact, all those little modules here are individual synthesizers. They're the famous DX7 actually, in a sort of a small box. And the whole idea is not to have 32 different sounds at the same time. You could do that if you wanted. The big trick is actually to have one sound, one patch that you use on all those 32, let's say, DX7s, and detune them a little bit, pan them left and right, and so on, so that you get a much richer sound than when you would have only a single one. Interesting things happen. Wait a minute. Something is happening. And I think let's first check out which tower is connected to this one. Probably I already have an idea. Got him. One important element of this studio is that is the whole infrastructure. Everything is, in principle, is connected, switched on. You can play it. I made sort of an island, where each island has its own mixer, and the outputs of those mixers, stereo output, go to a main desk, which has 8 stereo inputs. That's the audio part. You also have the control part via MIDI, and that means that I can actually sit here, play this keyboard, but hear that synthesizer over there. I can actually play each instrument from any place I want. Now, not all synthesizers have a keyboard of their own, so that is quite practical. To do that is a bit more complicated because there's a limit to the cable length that you can run to transport those MIDI signals. I think by head it's 9 meters or so. So I have a central point with a 16 times 16 MIDI matrix, and to each of those in and outputs is a 8 times 8 matrix connected, which is in those islands. So the maximum cable length is never longer than maybe 5 or 6 meters. Then there's another thing that is all the electricity that is being consumed by those by this equipment, and so there are six groups here for electricity. And actually, if I would switch them all on all at the same time, all the equipment in principle is on, then my fuses would blow immediately. So there's some 15 delays that will power on sections one by one. This is a very nice little synth from Vermona. I think there are not so many made of those, I think a few hundred. And, but it has a very special sound actually. What they did very well in this synth is that it has 2 sub-oscillators which One way or another work very nicely together with the main sound of those oscillators. A special synth here is the motor NF1. Nowadays everybody is saying, okay, it should be analog and this and this. This one is proudly digital, completely digital. And it sounds actually a bit digital. But it is just a company from a single guy in Belgium who created a number of those. Nicely produced one. It is also a bit special if you look at it. You know, most synthesizers have all the knobs nicely in a row, and here it goes all the way. I like that, just for the sake of it. Now this is the most special synthesizer in the whole bunch. It is a Quartz 4, and you are completely forgiven if you never heard of it, because there are only two of them, a prototype, that's series number 1, and this one is series number 2. My friend Jürgen Krooshoop has built this one, designed the whole thing, well, he's on his way to create more interesting synthesizers. I think he's now working on a polyphonic synth, and so we may hear more of him in the future. It sounds also majestic. Four oscillator synth. It's a paraphonic. You can do all sorts of combinations. It has a very versatile modulation section. You can actually do all sorts of things like having a glide per VCO. You can actually modulate almost everything with everything. And it's a very nice user interface, so you don't have to dive into menus. You can just have a hands-on experience with this thing. Future plans are as follows. There are many options here to compose music for film, for projects, for expositions, for different things. But another option is to do sound replacement. So for people who have created a song on their laptop with virtual synths, I want to replace those virtual synths with let's say the real models, Minimoog or what have you. Small recordings can be made here, so there's a limited number of people. This room is actually too full with equipment to handle a complete band, but let's say a piano player and a violinist would work. I have all the microphones to do that, but space is a bit the limiting factor here.